All right, y'all. Whoa. Welcome to High Off the Glass. We are, my mic is loud, but we are here, 3119 Hampton Ave, Overtime Studios, My City, My Music. This is the Great. We're doing High Off the Glass. I have my co-host, Coach Damon Hill, is in the building. Special guest today, El Jefe, a.k.a. Jeff Rouse, is in the building. It's a good friend of mine.
What's up, y'all?
What up, Jeff? Had a whole outline, plan given to me by my co-host, Damon, earlier in the week. I asked him, I hit him up. I said, I don't know. My guests can't go because we want to do a debate type thing that we were going to do today about Delta 8. We're going to do a Delta 8 debate. My other guest that was going to do that, co-host Poncho, he had stuff going on. That young man, y'all pray, keep Poncho in y'all spirits, y'all. This brother has lost two major friends in his life, I think in the last 2-3 weeks back to back. So please pray for that man. That is why Poncho is not here this week. He is writing obituary for yet another friend, which is horrible for him. So I hit up my co-host, Mr. Coach Damon Hill, and I asked him, what should we do for this week? He said Brittany Griner, basketball stuff, and cannabis. I said, you know what? That's it. Booyah, that's what we will talk about. And I'm on my way to the studio.
Actually, it was a little more detailed than that.
It was a little more detailed, my bad. On my way to the studio, I get a text from our brother, Mr. Rodney Michael, who is also, used to be co-host of the show. Will be back as soon as he is done with his refereeing duties. He's his official referee duties for high school, whatever sport he's doing right now. And he sent us a text saying the greatest tribute to the greatest Celtic ever of all time. So I click on the Twitter link that he sent us, and it says, Mr. Bill Russell has died. And I thought, oh, crap, maybe this isn't right, da-da-da-da-da. Maybe this is fake or made up.
It's like hours old.
Yeah, I didn't know. So I go to my Twitter. I go to my Twitter feed, my actual Twitter app, and first it didn't say nothing, so I felt a little bit better. Then I refreshed. Boom, it was right there. I was like, good God. So, I wanted to talk about today Mr. William Felton Russell, American professional basketball player, played for the Boston Celtics from 1956 to 1969, born February 12th, 1934.
Hold on for a second.
Go ahead.
I mean, interject.
Can I just finish the
Only thing I wanted to say was we're gonna need you to be a little more than melancholy.
A little more than melancholy?
Yes.
I mean, yeah, because for real,
alliteration, by the way.
I get it.
I mean, like I said,
I don't feel good about it, man. Like
it's a celebration.
I don't feel. I mean, I get it.
This isn't a therapy
Even the bio,
It
the
can
bio
be. It's
that
my
you're
show,
reading,
so it can be a therapy session.
the bio that you're reading,
Uh-huh.
your inflection
Yeah.
will determine how that bio comes off. I mean, you can read it as though
Yeah.
yes, we're mourning Bill,
Yeah.
but you can also read it as though these are major accomplishments from a major person.
Well, I didn't read accomplishments. I just read, this is like the obit part. This is like the basic part. His full name. There's a lot of people don't really know.
We're going to need you to get a little more happy in your voice.
I need to roll up.
Accentuate the positive. Eliminate the negative.
They told me a long time ago at one of my jobs, smile when you talk.
In between.
Smile when you talk.
Smile when you talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. And this is, to me, I can see, I understand what y'all saying. I get it. What is it?
Yeah,
Celtics forever, you know what I'm saying? That's how it is. What up, Dime? You see, I know it's a shitty day, right? See,
guy.
Dime is
not the right place.
my boy Dime, who's a basketball aficionado. He understands. I mean, yes, you celebrate the accomplishments and you're happy for him because you know how dope he is, but also too, man, this is a hard day. Like, I'm a Celtic fan through and through. You are too. This gentleman, this is an apropos guest to have today. This man is from Boston, Massachusetts, and is a Celtics fan as well. I don't know if it hits him as hard as it hits me or you know what I'm saying, or me, but
it hits him a little different.
You know what I'm saying?
It's not hitting me as high.
It hits me.
Bring out the Boston accent. Not hitting me as high as it's hitting you.
Yeah, go ahead. Like, because you said something earlier. Well, this is what I wanted to ask you, and I mean this when I say this. Jeff, when you I'm from Springfield, Massachusetts, hour and 20 minutes away. You're from Boston, Mass. You're born and raised, in the city or the burbs, probably the burbs. What town is it?
Actually, I was born in Kansas City.
In Kansas City?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was born in Kansas City.
You never
Missouri.
said that last time you were on the
Yeah.
show. This is a returning guest, y'all, to High Off the
I was
Glass.
born in KC, but I was raised mostly in Massachusetts, in
Okay.
a town called Sharon. It's about
Sharon.
a half an hour south of Boston.
There you go, Sharon.
But close enough that we considered ourselves from Boston.
You can.
Grew up Celtics
Now,
fan.
Kansas City, Kansas, Kansas City, Missouri.
Missouri.
How long did you live in
Great
KC?
Not very long, just enough to be born, and then we went back over the border to Kansas. That was the biggest hospital that
Okay.
my mother could have me born in. My folks lived in Kansas.
Okay.
Topeka, I believe.
Right. Yeah, we don't worry. We're gonna smoke. We're gonna smoke for. Dime knows about Sharon because he has a family that he went to school in Massachusetts. Family that went to school in Massachusetts, so he knows about it. We definitely gonna smoke for Bill. Dime. That's we know that. But okay, and Sharon, just to give y'all a heads up, is like right next to Foxborough. That's where the Patriots play. So just give y'all a little context.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, if you
nobody
went
cares
into the
about
woods
that.
behind my house and climbed the woods like my brother and I used to do when we were little kids, you get to the top of the bluffs. You could look out. You could see over Sharon, over Walpole, into Foxborough where the Patriots play.
Yeah.
You could see the stadium in the distance, and if the wind was coming in our direction, you could hear the crowd cheering. If there was a concert going on, you could probably make out the bass line.
Right. That's what's up. All right, now just give it to me. What is when you hear that Bill Russell passed? I know it doesn't
When
affect.
I hear Bill Russell, I think
Yeah.
Red Auerbach. He was the man that coached him.
Yeah.
For me, when my family moved to Massachusetts in 1980, Bill Russell was gone. He wasn't playing for the team anymore. Red was still around very much as the GM. So his
Wait, y'all didn't get to
influence
Boston
was
till? I'm sorry, y'all didn't get to Boston till 1980.
there. Yeah.
Oh wow.
That's what he just said.
All right. Go ahead.
So I lost my train of thought. Thank you. Oh.
Oh, my bad. When your family moved there in 1980, you
We
think
moved
Red
there-
Auerbach?
okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
he
so
wasn't there
Red
anymore.
Auerbach was the GM.
Right.
And I forget who my first Boston coach was. It might have been KC.
Probably Bill
It was.
Fitch.
Oh yeah, Bill Fitch in 80. Yeah.
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 But then for me, KC was the biggest impression that I
Right.
had. And then
Preach.
for me, the Celtics was Bird, McHale, Parrish, DJ, that whole
Well,
rotating.
like I
cast.
was telling one of my Lake Show fans, shout out Brian Riley. Once you become a fan, to me, it's just my take. You get the whole culture. You get the whole pass, everything, winning, losing. It's all you get all of it. Once you become a fan, a real fan, that's just my take. So people talk about you didn't see X, Y, Z, and all of that. Man, it don't make no difference.
Nah, you got to be a real fan to have suffered through the ML Carr coaching days.
Oh God, ML was so trash.
ML, well, he took it in the chin for the
So
team. He's
trash.
like, we got to rebuild. We're gonna suck for several years.
He was
and
horrible.
I'm gonna be the man that says, "All right, point your finger at me."
He couldn't
Just to
rebuild
get
though.
us through.
Like Red hooked him up with a really good job, and ML could do nothing with it. And the only reason he got that job because all ML was just a super cheerleader for the C's. That's all.
You
got
got to think he was coming off the Dave Cowens era. You talking about late '70s, and you talking.
No, I'm talking. He's talking about when he was like.
That's when ML Carr was coaching.
No, ML was a transition after Bird retired, and he had to figure.
Oh,
out
you
what
talking
we were
about-
doing.
He's talking about front
I'm
office.
tripping.
He's talking about front office.
tripping.
Yeah,
I'm tripping.
yeah. He was talking about.
office.
Yeah,
I'm
'Cause-
tripping.
And I don't think ML ever was the head coach.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He was? He was? Okay.
was coaching
You talking
GM,
about that?
I think, at the same time.
See, I was thinking about that bridge from, excuse me, the bridge from the late '70s to the early '80s. That bridge of down years, and then right before Bird came.
Yeah, but I knew he was talking about front office because front office.
Yeah, I forgot about
ML
it.
was the worst.
That was horrible.
Was the
That
worst.
was a really down time.
But
But
keep
that's
it-
what I'm saying.
Keep it to Bill Russell. I want to hear Jeff's thoughts on Bill Russell though, because you
Well,
think Auerbach,
For
but
me, Bill was a specter in the most positive sense. He was there, he was around, but he was gone. So he was a presence. You could feel him in the garden. He was active in the community, so you always saw him around. You'd always see him in the Globe or the Herald, the two major newspapers in Boston. And you could watch the man age gracefully and do what he did.
When my impressions, thanks a lot for that, by the way. My impressions of Bill Russell, Mr. Bill Russell, I should say. When I first started watching basketball, Bill Russell was broadcasting with CBS, and then he started coaching the Kings. But he was broadcasting first. So I would hear him break the game down and everything, and teaching the game as being a color commentator, and just learn and just to see how the crowd would react to him. Like they treated him and act like he was royalty. So, but I hadn't really learned a lot of the history yet. I mean, I was being exposed to it and learning some. But then when you dove more into it, you started getting more information about how he was as a man, first of all, and then the basketball part. But just the social part first. When you like when I was first exposed to like the picture the summit they had in like '68 with all the athletes, and then you see him schooling Lou Alcindor, and you see him with Jim Brown and other greats, and you think about the things that was going on in the '60s and how the country was, and for those guys to step forward like that and to show how you're supposed to do it when you're actually a leader. I mean, it's not to shit on anybody else's legacy or anything like that, but as far as like that time period was completely different, and since we didn't live in it, it's kind of hard for people to sometimes understand what that experience was like. But when you read about it so much and you see different videos and you really do get into it, you can sort of understand and get a feel for how the climate was. And like I said, when you have athletes who actually were taking a step to do things like that, and that actually was like the first wave of it. You know what I'm saying? Because when you think back to that time period, that's what a lot of people don't understand. Sports wasn't huge like it is now, so they don't really understand how. I mean, it was big, but the economy and times were different. So it wasn't looked at the way it is now. So when you have those athletes who were and entertainers who were stepping out and actually having a say so, like
That was huge.
one of the major things I always applaud about Bill Russell is standing up to the league and saying, we're not going to have this all-star game. We're not going to play because we don't like the way we're getting treated in this country and in this league. And that doesn't get talked about enough. You know what I'm saying? To actually boycott the all-star game and scare the league enough to where then he had black and white players. There wasn't just black players who were boycotting. This was white players also. To be able to galvanize both races. That's the greatest thing about Bill Russell. As a teammate, when you like I said, you're in one of the most racially charged cities. First of all, you're in Boston. This is not a place for black people. Yeah, everyone knows this.
It's a struggle.
But
it's a struggle.
To be able to get people to come together and at least root for you while you're on the court.
Notice how I didn't disagree.
Right, and I meant to tell you, I was just in Boston for the first time back in November, and saw us cream the Lake Show, and went to the Hall of Fame, and just
I
had
gotta think though that it's gotten better. It's been a long time since I've been back to Boston, but I have to believe in my heart that it has somehow gotten better. We live in different times, 21st century, 2022. There has to have been, despite what LeBron said about Boston's fans recently on his show, they're not completely racist. You don't hear people walking up and saying, hey, and whatever. You know, it's not like that.
Well, I don't think he meant it in that term or sort. It's just
emotionally charged during a game to say something heated, throw a plastic water bottle. Yeah, I get that. Boston fans are definitely assholes in that aspect. But to start shouting.
Perfect example. Marcus Smart. After the game, he's leaving the arena. He's at a stoplight. Lady is crossing the street with a small child, Celtics jersey on. Child got the Celtics jersey on. He's telling her to watch out or something because it's late or dark or something, or another car is coming. And she says, shut up, N-word. Mm-hmm. You got a Celtics jersey on. You don't even know who you're talking to. You know what I'm saying?
And to have that and to bring it back to Russell, because, Jeff, like, don't think you said something earlier that was funny. You said, I don't want to sit here and, talk about, Celtic fans or Boston being racist. You may not want to talk about it, and we're not going to dwell on it, but that's a huge part of this story and Bill Russell's story. I mean, while the man was playing, they would burn crosses on his lawn. Like, that has to be talked about. I'm not going to not talk about that. I grew up in Massachusetts. I get it. You know what I'm saying? I know how it goes for black people up there. You may not have partaken in it, in any of that, but you know some people that have. You know what I'm saying? Am I right or wrong?
Some people that have
like, you know, okay,
Experienced some racism.
done some racist shit to black people, just literally racist shit.
growing up.
I'm just talking about overall. Have you known anybody like that you've known? Okay,
In my entire lifetime, yes.
okay, so that's all I'm saying. So it's just like we're not here to make you in particular, because you're here, feel bad. We're not here to make a group of fans feel bad or a group of people feel bad. I get what Bron, and since you brought up the Bron thing, I'm gonna say that because that ties into this as well. I get why Bron brought it up, but he made it so specific just to Boston. But then I thought about it. Has he been anywhere else where they had "fuck LeBron" shirts? I think he has. I want to say it's Cleveland. You know what I'm saying? After he left the first time. You know what I'm saying? When he came back. So it's just like, was he all the way right in his interpretation? Maybe so. Was it a little drawn out for the show, uninterrupted on HBO? Maybe, but that's not the only. Huh?
He got great press.
Exactly, and that was the whole point.
When you break it
That's
down-
not the only place he's had that, but are the Boston fans a little extra to him? Maybe so, because he was for the longest our main opposition.
That's
to
what I
winning.
was just about
he
to
was
say.
I know he was our. I'm on the same page with you. He was our main opposite. They hated the GOAT. Why? Because they could not get past. Jordan had the shit locked down in the '90s, even though Celtics fans still kind of like dude, but they they hated him because he still beat them just like the Knicks fans do. But the Knicks it's kind of weird. It's like fans that have one particular dude that stops you from winning, we end up hitting that dude, but sometimes you get an appreciation for them low key. Like Knicks fans still love GOAT. Celtic fans, I think, still kind of still like GOAT.
I don't.
But you know, that's you. But you know, as a whole, I think people, you know, they see the greatness. But I think that's why he got that extra ire from Boston. But Boston, I mean, let's keep it real. Like, has it changed? You said it has to have changed. I don't know why you would think it has changed since then, Jeff.
Generations coming up with a more positive mental attitude, a more inclusive attitude.
I hear you, and that's cool.
You
but
would think that.
You would think that, but it's still the same. It's 2022, and we still have the same shit happening. Like, it may not be George Floyd level or Sandra. What's that sister that was Sandra
Bland?
Sandra Bland level. You know, this sister gets taken to a prison and never seen it to a jail and never seen alive again. It may not be to that level, but it's still going on. You know what I'm saying? It just may not make national news. But if I call my cousins that live in Springfield right now, or talk to my other cousins that live in Boston, and ask them what's going on, oh, just the other day, da 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 da. You know what I'm saying? So that's the messed up part. But it's another thing with Mr. Russell is I always wondered. My mother talked about him when I was a kid, and how dope he was, and how great he was, and how much winning he did. I actually won arguments in school about how many championships he had, how many championships the Celtics won in a row. But I would ask my mom, how come he's not around too much? Well, he's upset about stuff that happened with this, and she would explain that to me, and it was really kind of weird. It would throw me off. Like, how could somebody who was basically the Jordan of this organization not be in it? You know what I'm saying? That threw me off for the longest.
That went back to, to interject. That went back to and spoke to a lot of the things that went on within the city, and some things that went on within the organization. But that explains, like, you know, Bill had moved out to Seattle, you know.
True.
And even with a lot of the things that went on racially, to be open-minded enough to still have an interracial marriage.
True.
And to still be able to see, you know, there is, you know, good and bad in other races, just as well as within your own race. But to have to be the standard bearer and the superstar for a franchise that is constantly winning, but you're in an incredibly racist town. The mental fortitude that it takes to actually even play
Deal with that.
to deal with that. That was the early stages, him, guys like Jackie Robinson, of what athletes are going through now. But to go through it then is a completely different spectrum and world.
Totally
It's not like it is now, because now you can be insulated with money, and you're still gonna get some of that treatment, but it's different when you talk about back then when you didn't have that.
And one thing I want to say about back then, like, think about what this man had to be the greatest winner in the National Basketball Association's history to be given the job of head coach.
Player coach.
You know what I'm saying? He was player coach, and then and then became head coach after he retired. Like, in doing that, became the second African American to hold that position in North American sports. Like, that's crazy. That's the kind of stuff that Chris Rock makes a joke about. Like, he says that what is it? Jay-Z, one of the biggest all-time music performers ever, and sold this many records, and Mary J. Blige, and this many Grammys, and this many records sold, and lives in this really rich suburban town in New Jersey, and their neighbor is an orthodontist. Just a regular old orthodontist. And it's just like, it's the type of stuff that, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a thing that I think people that aren't African American don't seem to understand or see what the big deal is. It's just that the stuff that he had to do just to get to where he was. I mean, he had to be the greatest winner ever just to become a player coach / head coach. I mean, it's just, that shit baffles my mind.
Let's not forget he was a winner in college before he even got to the league.
Exactly. Like, it's just crazy. And you touched on it earlier. That summit, do you know anything about that? Like, I'm over here trying to look for information on that online. It gives me nothing. But do you know that summit that him, Kareem, Jim Brown, and Ali were a part of?
I don't know about this summit. No.
It was huge. It was basically 68.
68.
It was 68, and it was basically, and it was some other players there too, but those were the most notable players. And it was basically, and you look at Kareem as a college player.
Rosie Greer.
You know what I'm saying? Rosie Greer was one of them. Kareem is a college player alongside these professional athletes, saying what black people need in this country and what they should get, and we're not doing anything until they get it. Like, a real, and it's for basic shit. You know what I'm saying? It's not for anything, like monumental. It's for basic shit. And Bill Russell was the spearhead of this. You understand what I'm saying? Like, this is this man's impact. Like, it's not just somebody who played for the Celtics back in the 60s. To me, it's someone who, like, this dude fought for basic shit that I have. You know what I'm saying? That's why I take this a little different. You know what I'm saying? That's my look at it.
Basic shit. What, electricity, running water, a working stove in the kitchen?
No, it was basic stuff like, I don't know, civil rights. It was basic civil rights that
that's it in a nutshell. Yeah. Once you say the word civil rights, he fought for civil rights.
I shouldn't have to be any more specific, but that's basically it. Like, so me and you can go to the same schools, go to the same dispensaries, eat at the same restaurants.
What it was
go to that stuff.
The summit that he's speaking of. It was the genesis of showing athletes how to be socially active. Because it seems like it's commonplace now, but when you think about where it actually started from, that's where that started from. We're talking about athletes actually not, quote unquote, shutting up and dribbling. You know what I'm saying? And within our community, when you're looking at leaders, and leaders come from all forms. They don't have to just be from entertainment or sports. But those are pushed toward the forefront because they're in the media. So when you have an athlete who actually is mentally and socially aware enough to understand the responsibility that they have toward their own community and toward the rest of the community in the world, to actually speak for those who can't speak for themselves, who won't be heard, I should say. You can speak all you want to when you are the little man. but you need someone to spearhead for you.
Exactly.
to get
Amplify your
word-
voice.
for the masses to hear your voices. So when you have someone who's an athlete, who's also eloquent when they speak,
Right.
intelligent enough to get points across that don't come across, even though you're raging mad inside. But when you get your words across and you don't come across as some raging lunatic, as the media always tries to paint us, when we're black men or intelligent black men who actually want to voice their opinion, we get painted in a different way. And it started from guys like Bill Russell showing the regular man or the famous man, this is how you get your point across. This, when you're trying to get something done, government-wise or anything, this is how you get it done. You can bang the drum all you want to, but you have to bang it with precision, if you want to be heard. But
I mean, that's pretty much the gist of it. And that's a good, well said by Coach. And it's kind of funny how Wikipedia has nothing about that summit. That's kind of surprising to me. But you
have Black Google right here, so it doesn't make a difference.
Oh God, Black Google, yeah, okay. But that's how I'm looking at it, man, and that's how throw anyone up. It just really hurts my heart. I'm trying to finish up this.
I like the fact that his leadership ability. You're talking about leading different Hall of Famers and superstars. A lot of different guys' careers would not be the way they went if it were not for Bill Russell.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, St. Louis's own JoJo White. John Havlicek.
Yep, talk about it.
Talk about it. Tom Heinsohn. You got so many. Bob Cousy.
Would Arbach be the winner he is and known and the architect of Celtic basketball if it wasn't for Russell?
Kenny Smith talked about how when he was a rookie, Bill Russell was his coach with the Kings, and how he learned so much from Bill Russell just that year, even though they were a losing team.
I'm glad you brought that up too, because I literally was just listening to NBA radio on the way down, and me and Al Hassan and I forget Gelseiler, they had Eddie Johnson on. Eddie Johnson played for the Kings right when Russell got there, when they hired Russell to be the head coach, but also didn't know this. He was the GM. He was the GM and president of the Kings. Right after KC moved from
like 85,
the Kings moved from KC to Sacramento. They brought on Bill Russell. They wanted to have a name. They brought him in. They bring him in. They trade Eddie Johnson right before the season starts, and Eddie doesn't take too kindly to that. So trade him to Phoenix, where he has a great career. Very good NBA career, and every time he plays the Kings, he makes it a point to kick Bill Russell's ass and to kick the Kings' ass. Like that was his main objective after them trading him. And that's what ended up happening. I did not know he was the president of that team. I thought he was just a coach. I think he was the first, if I'm not mistaken, he may have been the first black executive in the NBA as well. I'm not 100 on that, but I think he was. Jeff, I feel like not trying to alienate you.
No, I felt like a foil.
Why do you feel like a foil?
Being used to explain a point.
Oh no.
See, I don't get that.
Actually,
I don't get that.
It's a good contrast having you here simply because when you're talking about someone who worked in the community as an African American in Boston, and someone who lived in Boston as a white male, the understanding that you
let's clear this up. I didn't grow up in Boston.
I didn't say grow up. I'm just saying just live there.
I went to school there, Emerson College, for a little bit. Took the T in, hung out in the commuter lounge. Didn't get out so much around the city. So, hung out with my fellow students.
I got you.
The environment that I was in, didn't see it.
Did you go to high school there?
No, I went to high school in Sharon. And this...
You get to high school in Boston.
Well, the high school that I went to, they had a program called Metco. where there were kids from the city, black kids, that they said, we're going to give you an opportunity to go to a better school than you may have had the chance to go to.
Like
Yeah, it's called busing. Yep.
D-Seg program here.
Yeah.
And that's part of what I was.
No, but let him finish because why bring that up? Go ahead.
That was my experience. That was like one or two black kids in the halls that I never really had the opportunity or chance to talk to because everybody ran in their different circles.
That's what I was going to speak on when you were saying earlier how your experience, like as far as like with Russell and the Celtics was different, or just with the Celtics was different. It was more so, like you said, he wasn't around much when you got there, and your experience will be different because, like you said, you're a white male, we're black men. So, and like you said, speaking on the point, like you just brought up, you said it's called Metco, and here it's called DSEG program. Same thing. And if you haven't really been exposed to someone on a daily basis or a regular basis, I should say, you don't even have to be daily, you wouldn't really understand or know what exactly they were going through. Like you were speaking earlier when you were saying, you would think, well, I'm sorry, in your eyes, you felt as though times have changed, but
I hope times have changed.
I'm saying,
I would think enough times and
have
generations.
But when you see
same shit keeps happening.
When you see things like when the players were saying had the "I Can't Breathe" shirts on, or having to do different things of that sort, that lets you know that things have not changed much at all. Just for in the things that you didn't get a chance to see back in Boston, for what Bill was fighting for, because like you said, you were at a suburban school, so it's complete. It's different than getting a chance to actually see the quote unquote real inner city, or even if you would have got a chance to even just befriend one of those guys and get a chance to really understand and learn at least one person what their struggle really was. It's hard to really see it from the outside unless you can really have someone to really explain it to.
No, I get it. I have no doubt that racism exists and that it still exists.
Oh well, I'm not saying that,
Yeah.
but to understand someone who's looking at it from a completely different realm or perspective, like I was saying when I got here, I had to hurry up and jump out the car and run in here because there was an officer at the light, and I didn't want the officer to look at me all strange. When people don't have to really think like that, it's a completely different way of living.
Right.
I'm not doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
But I know I got a quote unquote flashy car. I'm not in a regular shirt. So it just, you just never know what officer may be thinking, like, I'm gonna blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
But when you don't have to think like that or feel like that, it's a completely different way of living.
And also too, Jeff, this is not a you feel, I don't want you to feel like a foil. Never
Too
want,
late.
Yeah, I don't, because
I feel like I'm getting schooled in the black experience, and I really wish I had worn different clothing because I'm rocking my job, slew, and all of that. So,
And it's great to actually get a chance to be schooled in the black experience.
But why? Okay, you say so many things that make me ask you follow-up questions. Why do you feel weird about us having this conversation with you
He
wearing
didn't
that?
say he felt weird.
Yes, he does.
only because I came here to have a cannabis conversation, and 5 miles away from pulling up to here, you gave me a call. Hey, we're going to talk about Bill Russell, and now we've completely skewed down the black experience. So again, I feel like a foil.
Okay, but that's the thing. Every time race is brought up, white people take it as, they feel like they're attacked. Or it goes this way. You're being attacked. You're not being attacked. You are really.
I don't feel like I'm being attacked.
Okay, because when you
I
say
feel like
foil,
I'm being a foil, a convenient prop to make a point.
not at all. Not at all. I'm just giving you the contrast of literally, and again, I wish it had it in here, but it's funny, it doesn't talk about that specific race stuff in Wikipedia. I wonder why. But I'm just trying to give you the type of because this man has passed away. Okay, this is basically his whole life, and when every time a celebrity passes away, they always want to talk about the good shit and the easy stuff to talk about. They never want to talk. They want to glorify Muhammad Ali right now, but when he was alive, when he was playing, when he was fighting, they put that man through hell. Like the white sports media across the country put that man through hell. The only person that had his back was Howard Cosell. The only person. That is what Bill Russell had to go through racially in the United States is a major point of, what he had to go through. And you're not a foil to it. We're just saying it because you probably didn't know it. In any of the stuff that we mentioned that involves Mr. Russell, did you know it already? You know what I'm saying? That's basically why I'm saying it, because just like that, my audience may not know it. So I want them to know about it. And again,
what's I mean, I don't mean it.
let me just finish. The show again wasn't supposed to be about this today, but if I get I'm gonna tell you like this. You asked me a good question in the car too. You thought we were gonna cancel, and because of this, and I said, heck no, I am not canceling the show. The only way I do that is if a family member dies, and I'm gonna tell you like this. If anything happens to the GOAT on my way to coming to the studio to do my show, I will not be doing the show that day. Now, that will really fuck me up. But with Russell, it hits me a little different because of, the reasons that we mentioned. That's why I just wanted to express that to you, because when I said it over the phone and when you came in, you're like, I don't. It almost gave a sense of, I don't see what the big deal is.
No, it's not.
Okay.
That's not what that voice
okay,
was.
cool,
That
cool.
was, I don't know what the hell I'm going to talk about.
Okay, cool. It's just okay, cool. That was I misinterpreted that. I just had to talk about it because I love that man. I always wanted to meet that man. I'm so glad that I know this is minuscule and something that happened in his life, but I'm so glad he was alive to be on the 75 team. I'm happy that he was able to be on the NBA 75 team. I'm happy he was alive for that. So I just wanted to say that, and I just wanted to talk about him because
The part about the summit was fascinating.
Yeah, I mean that was amazing, and I can't. Of course, it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to find stuff like that. But when you basically change the game of basketball and are a huge civil rights advocate, like that's amazing. That you can't get much better than that. So, I mean,
that was really where I was trying to go a few minutes ago. Excuse me, because I sensed your uncomfortability a little bit.
Is that a word? Uncomfortability?
He just coined it.
It works actually, but I was just wondering.
First of all, I've never lost a spelling bee, and I'm the best Scrabble player you've ever
Spell
seen.
anti-disestablishmentarianism.
I mean, you can have a good
In 1
spelling
second.
bee. Making up words.
But it was like I said, to get you to understand and feel as though it's nothing to be uneasy about or feel like a foil, because the best way to learn is to engage in dialogue. And you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And it gives you a better perspective of knowing, of learning. It gives you a better perspective of knowing how the effect that this man actually had on people. For one, who never saw him play a minute, and this man is revered by me, by a lot of people, and it's not because of what he did on the court. I mean, what he did on the court is great, but what he did off the court, it resonates so much within us, within our lives. Because like you were saying, you wanted to know more about that summit, and like I was saying earlier, like I said, the start of social activism, just amongst men, black men, learning, showing how to galvanize, showing how to come together. That part, the teaching aspect of that part, showing the brotherhood aspect also, showing that people can come together, counsel, and not argue, and come together on certain points and move forward. Then that translated also on the basketball court. You know what I'm saying? To bring guys together to fight for a common goal and to constantly win, not just win a little bit. I don't know if you know, but for the whole decade of the '60s, they won titles except 1 year. Mm-hmm. The whole
Talk
decade,
about who won that 1 year though.
Who cares?
We got to give props to the city. That'd be the St. Louis Hawks, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm just saying,
the St. Louis Hawks.
Because when we see like now, when we see guys like we talk about guys like LeBron and him going to the finals. What was it? 8 out of 9 straight years. 8 out of 9 years. I don't, and that's why I try to tell people I don't care about going 4 and 6 or whatever with the record 3 and 6 at the time. It's very hard to make it to the penultimate games 10 straight years. That's just about impossible.
Yeah,
that's why
ridiculous.
No one does it. You know what I'm saying? But getting back to Bill and just the things that just if we just wanted to just talk about basketball, I'm not going to say arguably. He is the greatest defensive player ever. Not to mention the greatest winner. I mean, you may not know this, but if you are Finals MVP, you win the Bill Russell Award. Because, come on, he's the greatest.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's hard to argue. I mean, I just want to list off.
I was thinking about. I mean, I don't mean to cut you off, but I was thinking about
Yes, you
Steph winning that last Bill Russell Award.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? You were the last actual winner when he's alive, on the platform with him, on the podium with him. That's something to take on.
Wow, yeah, that's
You know what I'm
right.
saying?
Because Bill presented him that.
You're the last guy.
Wow, you're the last one to get it from the man, Bill Russell. That's huge for him. You listen to this man's list of basketball accolades: NBA Most Valuable Player, 1965, 1963, 1962, NBA All Defensive Team, 1969. I'm surprised it's just
62. Oh my God.
How's it only it's 1 year he was all defensive? That makes no sense.
They didn't do it
Sports
every year.
Illustrated Sportsman of the Year, 1968. Oh, they probably didn't do it those previous years, correct.
Just like they didn't keep blocks.
NCAA Basketball Tournament Most Outstanding Player, 1955. All NBA Team, 65, 63, 59. Wow, I think that was his rookie season. NBA All-Star Game MVP, 1963. Arthur Ashe Courage Award, 2019. Oh my goodness, it's just ridiculous. Presidential Medal of Freedom, 2011. I mean, yeah, he's pretty dope. He's pretty dope, man. It's amazing. I'm shocked by I'm shocked that he's passed.
I need to tell Rodney Jackson that yes, he started off playing against 8 teams, but then the league expanded to 14 teams.
Yeah, I don't. Tell him
while they were winning.
Tell him if he ever has a player that has the only player that he has that has somewhat close to the impact that Russell had was Steph, but Steph does nothing off the court like Bill. So tell him that Steph's got to step his game up. But you know what? We'll get back to Mr. Russell since we're here, and we do have this amazing guest, El Jefe, Mr. Jeff Rouse. I would love to talk to this man because he has some amazing things that are coming up here pretty soon. Yes, we are going to talk to you as well. I know you didn't think that, but we're gonna talk to you. Can you tell me what are your next? What do you have coming up, man? Like what's because you're doing a lot. You have your hand in a lot of different things, and I know there's some stuff that I don't know if we can talk about them all, but you lead me down the path, man, because you got some stuff
It's hard
going.
to keep track of sometimes.
It is. I think you got too much.
The biggest thing for me is season 3 of The Fields. That's my Canna-centric show. We had done season 1 and season 2 in the conference room of the Field State Dispensary in Florissant, just using a simple camera phone and going live on Instagram and Facebook. And as I said earlier, I'm a graduate of Emerson College, so when I see something that in front of me, it's sort of a proof of concept. They've got a podcast room, and we're getting to use this for free. Shout out to Utopia for that. Thank you very much, guys. We're going to have 11 guests this season. The format's going to stay the same, one-on-one interview. And we're going to not do it live. We're going to pre-record it, and we are going to cut it in post-production. So in order to pay for that, I had to go out and get sponsorship. That was my first time really going out and approaching businesses and asking them, this is what I've got going on. Would you be interested in spending a little bit of money? And I told them what they would get in return, and they said yes. And I was able to get sponsorship for the entire season.
Oh.
11 shows.
Oh.
I got clothing sponsorship.
Oh my goodness! Wow, there you go.
I got clothing sponsorship from M Blue,
Dang.
who was a guest on season 2 for me. He's
Yeah.
hooking me up with a top for every episode.
Right.
And my first production is going to be on August 17th. I'm going to be interviewing Mitch Green. He is 1/3 of the owner of the Feel State brand,
Oh,
which...
there you go.
No, I started thinking about Mitch Blood Green.
Right. Talking about the one
Like,
that challenged Tyson.
Yeah, I'm like, I hope it ain't that Mitch Green.
Right. I sure thought it was that
Damn.
You'll have
motherfucker
to
too.
explain to me afterwards who he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're just going to interview him, make sure we get all the bugs out of the system before we get everybody else in.
Okay.
But that's just one thing we've got going on. We've come up with an educational presentation. One of my patients at work.
Well, slow down. You're going to. I want to talk about this because that's major. The fields are no longer going to be at Field State in the dispensary in a conference room. They're going to be moving to a whole studio, and that's where you're going to be doing the show from, and everything is sponsored.
Correct.
That is amazing, man. I love that. I love to hear that.
Yeah, I love it too, especially when I get to hand the checks to the people who are going to pay for post-production, and they look at me like, holy crap, he did this.
Yeah. That is. Yeah. Shout out to producers. We love you. You all are the people who make it happen. We have a great one here, and Mr. I call him Just.
You said this is your third
Mr.
year?
Just
My
kick
third
it.
season.
Third season.
Yeah, I've done, I think, 25 episodes between the first 2 seasons. The first was co-hosted. I wrote 12 and a half of the 13 episodes.
Shout out Dr. Bex.
And then season 2, season 2.
No, if you can't, if you can you explain your show?
Sure. The field started out, Corey Rimmel, the gentleman who hired me, 1/3 of the ownership of Feel State brand, said, I want you to just do a show between you and Doc Bex. I want you to sit down in front of a camera and just talk about whatever.
There it is.
And I'm like, okay. I just started writing, and I started writing dialogue for both of us. And that's just the way it went for the entire season. I wrote the scripts, and we co-hosted. And along the way, we started to say, all right, we need to go outside this format, mostly because it was a ton of work for me to have to do to write all these episodes. They were very scientific-centric, and I had to go out and find the studies necessary to back up what we were saying. So we did an interview with the guys who own Curador. Curador has Safe Bet and Head Change under their brands. Shout out to Curador. And we did it in their facility. And it showed me that, wow, this is definitely the possibility for what the fields can turn into.
Right.
Season 2 rolls around, Doc Bex moves on to greener pastures, and I say, all right, we're going to turn the show into a one-on-one interview, but we're still in the same conference room. And along the way, the technical lackings were starting to get under my skin.
Right.
So by the end of the season, I'm like, we've got to change this. So I started reaching out and saying, who can we get to, who's got a studio? Who's got a studio in St. Louis?
Talk about that brother who does your, that was doing your technical stuff, though, before you left the studio, because I think Chris is a great photographer, and I think he's a great sound.
Christopher Nelson.
Talk about, for real, talk
Right
about
there.
him.
Shout out to
Yeah.
Christopher Nelson.
Shout out
The
to
man's a
him.
fantastic cook, too. He's doing
yes, he is.
Taco Tuesdays at the Sanct Lounge. Shout out to the Sanct. Whoa.
Nice.
That was the wrong
See,
button.
see,
y'all
I'm
see.
sorry.
Let-
that was the
let
wrong
me
one.
do that. Let
I
me
was
do
going
that.
for lasers. I
Let
was
me
going
do
for
that.
lasers.
That's why I just smoke.
So he's
But
doing,
yeah,
he's doing,
Chris-
okay.
Chris he told me at the end of season 2 that he wasn't going to be able my producer for season 3. He said he's
Okay.
got too much on his plate, and I
Right,
respect that, and I respect
right.
the work he was able to help
Chris-
me with.
Chris
He
is
got
blowing
me a
up. He's
bunch
doing
of
his thing.
guests that I never would have gotten otherwise,
Yeah.
and expanded my reach within the community. So I'm really appreciative and grateful for Chris and what he was able to do for me.
Shout out, Chris. All right, bet, man. So you're coming up at this new studio. Your episodes start going to start August 17th. That's when your new one is.
That's when I taped the first one. Hopefully September 11th September 11th is when the first episode is going to go on. The second Monday in September.
Oh, wow.
That's
Okay.
the goal.
You got a live audience or?
Nope, no live audience, just myself and the guest, and then a tech person making sure everything's good.
When you're gonna, where can people find it?
They're going to be able to find it definitely on our YouTube. What we're going to do is we're going to cut the whole thing down to about a half an hour, however long it turns out to be.
Yeah.
And then we'll rebroadcast it on Facebook and Instagram if they'll let us. They've been messing with us lately.
Yeah.
Also, probably
They're
WeTube.
not cool about that.
Do you put your show out on WeTube?
What the hell is WeTube?
WeTube is a couple of guys that had shows on
Will be now.
Instagram.
We will be now.
It's virgin territory. It really is. These guys got kicked off of both platforms, and we're basically like, screw you guys, we're going to do it ourselves.
Oh,
and they
yeah,
came
we
up
gotta
with
get in
their own
contact with these
platform,
motherfuckers.
weedtube.com.
Okay.
And I put up a couple of episodes of The Fields up there, all of season 1, part of season 2, just to see what happened.
Yeah.
But I'm not a pretty girl, so my views are like 7, 8, compared to the 30 to 40 that a couple of girls' podcasts normally get.
Yeah. How many people are on?
I don't know exactly how many, but once you get to they have it built in to monetize itself once you hit a certain point. Once you get a certain amount of views, the money starts rolling in.
Okay, I'm just wondering.
How long have you been on it, affiliated with them?
Not very long. Once I saw the views weren't getting where I want, I kind of lost focus and I'm not very tech-centric, so to have to sit there and write the descriptions and hashtags and make sure all that's in there.
Right.
That's why I need a producer.
Okay, yeah, I feel you on that.
I mean, season 3, I'm doing it all of myself, and it's actually been refreshing, showing me things that I didn't think I was capable of doing.
Yeah.
But I've got all kinds of other stuff on my plate. Slew.
Yeah,
One of them.
Now, wait, and before we jump into that real quick, you say you have a production team, or you doing it all yourself?
I'm trying to put together a production team.
Oh, okay. I thought you.
There's a wonderful woman that I met named Michelle Fielden.
Okay.
We met on a bus tour. We got taken to Clover, which is a production facility out in Kansas City.
Yeah.
4-hour bus ride. And it turns out Michelle was one of the original producers on a show that my family used to watch. We'd gather around the TV to watch PM Magazine. Yeah. And she was one of the producers of that.
I remember that show.
Okay.
So I'm trying to get her to come and help me do some stuff.
Huh. Okay. All right, because I thought at the new studio you had a production team. That's why I thought. That's why I asked that.
No. I'm trying to put a production team together.
That's what's
to
up.
help
So
me
you
with all
are
this
doing this.
stuff.
Okay, bet you're doing guerrilla style yourself. I like that. Go ahead, G. I can't wait to. Yeah, I'm come over there see how this goes. And you let me know when you want me to jump back on the show again.
Well, I got an idea for you, man.
You do?
You have a radio voice.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
I think you would be wonderful doing a man on the street.
Okay.
If that's something that might be interesting to you.
I think that might work. We could definitely talk about that. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
So the one thing that I'm proud of you about right now, and my boy Brennan England, you guys are doing something that is really amazing. That is on your freaking shirt. You are partnered with SLU, and you are in SLU's class that they give. You can literally now get a degree in cannabis-related things. Like, this is amazing,
it's a
dude.
certified accredited program. You don't get a typical degree, so to speak.
Okay.
But you do
get certified, get a
intensive
certification.
Training.
There you go.
Yeah. It's 5 classes. You start out with general cannabis knowledge, then you move on to growing. You can't actually grow cannabis and get graded on it. The school would lose federal funding. But if you grow cherry tomatoes, they grow remarkably similar to cannabis. So that's what you grow during that class. Step 3 is extraction. You make stovetop gummies and chocolates and tinctures. The 4th is all about dispensary operations. That's what I'm going to be teaching. And the 5th is about pharmacology. Wow. So you get pretty intense stuff.
Shout out to Ron Williams. He took that class also. He's a good friend of mine. Smokes a lot.
And then they've come
about
up
hooping
with
too.
a graduate level
so
program
dope.
that gets even more into the pharmacology, and that's designed for doctors and nurses and people, really bud tenders, if they want to explain straight science to the patients.
So that's a whole nother
That's a
class.
whole nother class that they've come up with.
Another sort of is that the same deal? Like
Same thing. It's accredited. You get a certification. You can walk the stage, graduation tassel, the whole 9 yards.
5 classes you have to
I don't
take
think
it
it's
for
that many. I think it's 3 or 4.
Oh,
Explain to the layman what a bud tender is, because they don't know that term may have went over their head.
Sure.
Good question.
A bud tender, okay. In a dispensary, the person that is going to talk to you about cannabis and sell you your product is called a bud tender. Take on a bartender. But it's a lot more than that. Bud tenders have to be, one, not only a retail person, they are part bartender in that people tell them their personal problems. You'd be surprised what, hi, how you doing today, can lead to with someone who is coming in to get medicine for themselves. We're also part psychologists and psychiatrists. People will often open their emotional purses and wallets and dump them out on the counter and say,
Now, are you? I didn't even interrupt, but are you a bud tender?
yes.
See, now, you the bud tender and that person that you're describing, I don't like you guys. You are in my way. I'm trying to get my purchase. I don't want to talk to you like that. I know what I want to get. Get out of my way. Let me make my purchase. Here's my debit card. Here's my credit card. Let's go.
Okay, you probably had
I'm not
bad
giving you my
experiences
problems.
with bud tenders.
Man, here, take this money, this extra taxes that I don't want to pay unless I'm in Las Vegas.
You got to
But-
understand, we get people from all walks of life that come in, from everyone who just wants a quick and easy transaction because they know what they want, and we recognize that in patients and say, all right, we're not going to talk shop. Here's what you want, and you're on your way.
But it is good
But then
customer
we have
service.
people
though.
that come in wheelchairs that are terminal, and they're saying, this is my last option. I never would have thought I would have gotten to this point in my life. Help me. And that's where we have to go on this journey with these people and help them to the best of our ability. And bud tenders really don't get that kind of training. You know, someone gets the job thinking, yeah, I get to sell weed for a living, but no.
But that's where you have to
become
have
an intimate part of other people's lives.
That's where your natural customer service skills have gotten to take over. You're either going to be good at customer service or you're not.
Yes.
You have people who work in customer service who are not good at it. And like you were just saying in that particular instance, when you have someone coming explaining this is my last option, you have to understand how to be empathetic and scientific at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas you got jackass me behind them ready to go because I want to get high. But you can't let that affect how you're going to deal with helping person A. You know what I'm saying? Which is what a lot of people don't understand when it comes to customer service, period.
I think you would have been frustrated if you came by around the other night. We did Midnight Madness at the dispensary in Florissant. We actually stayed open until midnight.
Ooh, how'd
Checked
that
it
go?
out with the city, made sure everything was okay. Had an
been
off-duty
happy.
police officer for the late nighttime hours. And
Did you have to have that officer?
we didn't have to. No.
Yeah.
No, but the decision was made to, and
you
I'm
better.
grateful that we had him because
right.
we were so busy from 9 until midnight. I was in the fishbowl. That's
Yeah.
what we call the area where we check people in when they first come in. So I scan their license, make sure everything's okay, and I give them back their credentials.
Right.
I didn't stop doing that for an hour and 15 minutes. If I didn't have that cop there to push the button to let people in,
Yeah.
it would have been mayhem.
Because people are
So-
tired of dispensaries closing at 8 o'clock.
For real. Y'all-
We're
y'all
talking
people
about
stupid.
staying open later.
Yeah, I bet you are.
We're
Like
thinking maybe
shit.
9 to 9 instead of we do 10 to 8 right now, Monday through Saturday.
Stop
You
fucking
need 11
around. Y'all
o'clock.
need to do midnight. Y'all need to do
11 o'clock.
midnight.
You want to see that money?
We
Just
took
fuck
care of
around and do-
97 patients in 2 hours.
You would do
It was
that.
insane. Now, granted, we offered 30% off, so that was very enticing for people. We got a lot of first-time patients just for that reason. We did a whole huge social media campaign about it.
What you do is you're able to catch 2 shifts of work. You're able to catch the first shifters because they've been off, of course, and the second shifters. They don't get off till 10:30, 11 o'clock. You give them a chance to get to you all because you're the only place that's open. I don't know
A lot
why.
of people tell me that.
I don't know why y'all don't do that. It's like sometimes businesses will not.
Growing pains.
That's
They
because
will
this
not
is a
explain
small
it.
city.
True, but
in
they
big
won't-
cities, that's not.
This
they're
is a
open
big
late.
city.
This
This
not
is a big city. This is a major city.
Stop.
St. Louis is a major city. Stop playing.
I think he's probably talking about Las Vegas open 24/7, that kind of thing.
Or even Denver.
Or in Denver, sure.
Denver's probably the same size
Denver's
as St.
a-
Louis.
Denver's a real city. St. Louis ain't no big
Anyway,
city.
they know its own city. It just baffles my
the
mind
counterpoint
sometimes.
to staying open later is that now in St. Louis County, we're starting to see dispensaries get hit. Now, They were taking place at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, but Cookies got hit, Green Light got hit, 315 Primo got hit. Oh, that's Cookies. 2 other dispensaries got attempted break-ins of groups of people. 6 to 7 people were caught on security cameras.
When was this? All
This
recently?
was recently, yeah. The cop told me about it, and then I read about it in the news.
Huh.
So there is that counterpoint to staying open later.
But they
And if you've been watching about what's going on in Washington State right now, I mean, they're pistol whipping guys for no reason whatsoever. The break-ins are brazen. Cars driving through front windows.
oh
Oh, yeah. Masked people coming in, straight taking people hostage, robbing, and then pistol whipping.
okay.
It's horrible. And that's all because you don't have banking.
That's been in Washington State.
Washington State, yeah.
Okay, that's effed up. Like we can't have that on no level. But with here, those places that recently were hit, they all were hit like what, early in the morning?
Yeah, I think 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, security cameras caught them.
3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and they're all places. Like, don't you think if you're open till midnight, that to me would be like, okay, if that would make more people not want to make you not susceptible to it because you're open later. People may still be around, still looking around, seeing what's going on, and may see whoever's trying to do that.
Well, we were really, really busy. So, I mean, at one point we were 22 people waiting to get in, and it stayed like that for a solid hour.
Yeah.
Lots of cars in the parking lot. People that couldn't sit down went outside, smoked, what have you.
Right.
So it looked like there was something going on, less of a chance of someone coming up and trying something.
Right.
But if you don't have a promotional going on and it's slow, and
Yeah. I think it would still pay for itself. It would even out. Because, I mean, it wouldn't be maybe ridiculous like that every night. Because those
I know
places.
what you mean about the late night crowd.
Yeah.
There are people that work second and third shift, and
Man.
they want to be able to get their medicine too. So, and we'd like to be able to help them.
That's
so
all it
we are
is.
talking about increasing our hours.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So now you also have some other irons in the fire. So what else?
Yeah,
is,
what you got with you right there?
Well, this right here, this is
Yeah, you
robust
need to throw some over here.
flower. The ownership group of the dispensary. Okay, let me explain how it works at Field State. Field State is a turnkey brand.
Yeah, that's for us,
Anybody
right?
that has,
These are for us, right?
This is for you to sample if you'd like.
Okay.
I would smoke it off of it.
Is it
but I'm-
robust?
It is more than robust.
let me see what-
It is phenomenal. Yeah, check it out because there's lots of information on the packaging
yeah.
that
You gotta
doesn't
bring these
normally
over here.
come
Hey, that
from a
says
lot of dispensaries.
Purple Ooh,
marijuana.
Okay.
Yes,
Now, it's,
raspberry parfait.
that is my favorite. That
What,
has
which one is
two-
your favorite?
The raspberry parfait he has there. It's got 2 terpenes that I'm really
Somebody's
discovering
gonna
I
find
love.
out soon.
Terpenoline and osamine.
Tell me about those terpenes.
They are go juice for me. Terpenoline you also find in turpentine. So sometimes when you smell that, your eyes open up. You get a little sense of alertness. That's terpenoline. And then osamine is
See, I ain't got my reading glasses.
yeah.
Seriously,
I know,
my
print
dude?
small.
Yeah, man, I'm 50.
What the hell? Your old ass. You can't read this shit?
No, I've been looking at computer screens since 1980.
Open the bags up. smell
Me
them,
too.
because it's
What
unlike
the hell?
anything
You was born in
you will have
1980.
No, I was born in 79.
My bad. 1 year.
I tell you one thing. I have Brunch Punch in front of me right now. This has THC. A is 17.9, 99%. THC is 16.03%. CBGA is 0.56.
He's just showing
and
off now.
CBGA you don't see
CBDA.
too often. That's the mother cannabinoid.
CBDA. Ooh, that's a good
It's the
thing.
first one the plant grows when it starts out as a seedling, and then
Like,
it turns into other types of cannabinoids.
Like Ron Burgundy said, it's quite pungent.
You can't get too excited. It doesn't have too much of it. It's not even a percentage. It's like 0.50. But it's this is for the Brunch Punch. Let me see what you got.
You wouldn't like it.
I'll read it. I was gonna read it.
You've also got
read it for
Buddha's hand there. That's as closest to, I guess, what you would. That's a creeper. I would definitely call that a creeper. It starts out with limonene, the terpene limonene, so your eyes open up.
Obviously, we're going to have to do something about these labels now.
Yeah, you should have passed these out before we started rolling.
I
dude.
can't see these.
Anybody got a magnifying glass? Can you take a picture of it on your camera, zoom in on it?
Yeah, I got hair, but my eyes have gone bad.
Yo,
I know. I've been wearing glasses.
you need to eat
since I
some
was 7.
carrots or
Time for a new
something, man.
prescription.
No, I'm
the
not,
hell?
man. I've
Yeah, get them
I've been
eyes
looking at
together.
computer
What the
screen.
hell?
I got reading glasses. I just didn't bring them in.
You should have brought them in with your old ass. I ain't know
Not
you
old,
wore
not
glasses
classic.
out this bitch.
We
Okay, now
become
this
classic,
one,
not
this
old.
one right here.
You remember
Buddha's. Where's Buddha's hand? There's nothing in it.
There wasn't anything in there. Purple
Is there
gorilla.
nothing in there?
Yeah, this-
Oh, then that's probably why it's in the grinder. here.
okay,
So go
that's-
ahead and
that's-
smell what it's like ground up.
Oh, Buddha's hand. It looks great.
Smell.
Smells great.
This is the Buddha's hand.
Buddha's hand is THC is 14. It's only 14.8.
That's
89.
not about THC percentage. It's about the entourage effect.
I hear you. Let's see. THC.
Purple gorilla.
They both say THC.
Purple Gorilla was part of the original drop. Don't know if that's in the queue to come back. Brunch Punch and Buddha's Hand were part of the second drop that we had. We also got California Raisins, which I didn't bring today.
Oh.
That one was a winner right out of the gate, not only for THC percentage, but the terpene profile. It was just
wow.
pungent stuff.
Right.
But the rock star of the lineup so far has got to be Finnish Frost, and that's a Blue Dream Cross.
Ooh.
And people love it.
Have you
Absolutely love it.
You didn't bring that one?
Didn't have that one.
Oh, okay. That one's out the door, isn't it?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
We sold 5 pounds of weed on Midnight Madness.
I think this was good.
Just that day alone, we sold 5 pounds of weed. So that's pretty incredible. Yeah. And a lot of it was robust.
That's a good man. And Robust, talk about that. That is basically.
So Robust is the flower brand of the ownership group that licensed Feel State.
Right.
So the guys that own Robust
Oh, this is getting rolled up.
said we need a strong brand. They found Feel State. It came with a whole wealth of knowledge behind it, and they've partnered up.
A good friend of mine named Rollo once said, "We're going to get rid of these one by one."
Right. Talk about
Wild
it.
parsley today.
Talk about it.
Straight
Good thing
wild
about
parsley
packaging is
today.
You can do that with the packaging. You may think that that's Mylar, but it feels different in your fingers. That will actually break down and biodegrade. We made
this
sure
packaging.
that packaging. We
Yes.
made sure our packaging
Yes.
will break down.
This packaging
Yes,
will
that
break
is
down
amazing.
and it's
There's also a
biodegradable.
QR code on the back of it that will link you up to our link tree.
Yes.
That will take you to a certificate of analysis for our
Yes.
complete lineup. So you
Yes.
can see the lab report that we were given when we did our third-party testing.
Oh,
See, you don't get stuff like-
that is fresh as hell.
You
Jeff.
don't get stuff like this with crack and heroin.
Wow.
This is only for cannabis.
That's the science.
Just
man.
saying.
The science about cannabis.
You don't have
is incredible.
biodegradable needles.
This is getting rolled up. This berry punch. This berry punch. This berry. Wait, no, is it? No, I'm sorry. Brunch punch.
Brunch punch.
This
yeah.
is getting. Yes.
You
let
can't
me see
even
this.
finish the show.
bag. Oh.
This is getting rolled up.
Brunch punch. We
Stay
work
focused.
with really good genetics.
Focus on the task.
I am. This is the task at hand. I mean, like you said, we're taking these out one by one.
Brunch.
Oh, he's getting his Rollo on for real.
But no.
Brunch punch is a mimosa Evo crossed with orange punch. So we put the lineage right on the bag.
And why do you feel the need to do that? Why do you feel the need to put the lineage, to put the terpenes, to put percentages? Why?
People like to read about that
Okay.
when they can see it.
I can't ask them.
It's medicine. First of all, when you go buy a thing of Tylenol and there was no label on the box, you'd be like, hey, what's going on here? Why can't I find out what the dosage is? Patients need to know this information.
Thank you.
Back in the day, they didn't show that shit.
You know, at work they
be
call
honest with
MSDS, those material and safety data sheets. You have
Word.
to have all that stuff.
Okay.
OSHA certified. You know.
All that good stuff.
It's a nice grinder.
It is. Thank you. 3-chamber. It's pretty big. I hate those little grinders. I got big hands, so I can't do the small ones.
But you can always
So-
do like I stated earlier. Shout out to Outkast. Crumbling
Just
Herb.
crumbling herb. And again, like what Jeff mentioned earlier, you do lose, some terps. You lose some of that on your fingers because your fingers get sticky. What is that? That's the green you want to smoke. But anyway, my question to you, Jeff, is that I know You have some plans. Can we talk about other stuff that you got going? Because something going on with.
Well, I started talking about it earlier. We found.
We have a scientific question online. Someone says, "What about the turpentine?"
What about the turpentine? Terpinolene. Terpinolene?
Yeah, I think he may be misunderstanding what you're saying.
Okay. Terpinolene is a terpene in cannabis. So if you don't know what a terpene is a secondary chemical that grows alongside of cannabinoids like THC and CBD.
Thank you.
Inside of what's called a trichome. So when you are looking at a frosty nug, the frostiness are trichomes. It looks like a ball on top of a stick. Inside the ball is where cannabinoids and trichomes grow. So when you're breaking it up, crumbling herb, you are crushing those trichomes, releasing the oils inside, and getting them on your fingers. That's why you can really smell it nice. So I hope that answered his question.
I think it did. That was a great
And
explanation.
you know, some of but the layman would say, "Man, I be needing to feel, but like I want to see if it's sticky." This is their mentality. Yeah. Man, I want if it ain't sticky, man. I
If
don't
it's
want
covered
it.
in trichomes, if it looks crystalline, it's sticky. Because when you break it up, those oils are sticky. That's why it feels sticky.
Yep.
You're getting those oils on your fingertips.
See, I like the kind that when you break it down, it look like it's dry, but then it be moist as hell. You know
It's
what I'm
sticky.
saying?
That's, to be honest with you, the person who
No,
said
not sticky, moist.
the person who says that though, I'm not mad at them. They may not have the science that
That's why I was asking them that.
Yeah,
That's
that
why I'm
Jeff
glad
just
you broke
breaks
that
down.
down.
But what's the one thing they know? When it's sticky, when it's like that, when it's moist, it's fucking good. You know what I'm saying? And I don't fault them for saying that. You know what I'm saying? Because you know what I'm saying. Not everybody. Now you listen or watch High Off the Glass, and you will know that. Because Jeff just broke it down.
Now these are questions from our other co-host Rodney Jackson. He's saying, so it's not the paint that you're talking about. See, that's something he doesn't.
Okay,
know.
he was talking about turpentine. Terpinolene is used in turpentine.
Yeah.
So terpenes are found elsewhere in nature. They're not
There
just
it
found
is.
in cannabis.
That's
For
the
example,
thing. There it
limonene
is.
is found in lemons. If your mom ever zested a lemon in the kitchen and you walked by and you were like, "Oh wow, that smells good, Mom,"
Yep.
you were smelling limonene.
There it is.
If you've ever cleaned your floor with pine sol, that's pinene that's been added to it.
Yeah. Like if you go, I like when you go back to your scientific breakdown because he's an engineer, so you're speaking his language when you broke it down scientifically. He knew exactly what the hell
I've
you
told
meant.
Rodney Michael these things years ago.
That's what
He
I'm
still
saying.
don't get it. Nah,
I
that's
wish
like
I brought
bullshit.
my big book of terps with me. I paid $100 for this
Man.
book. It's about that thick, hardcover, coffee table sized, and it's all about terpenes, of which terpenes are everything from limonene all the way up to latex. Latex is actually a terpene.
I'm glad that we're speaking on that because I want to give a big shout out to St. Louis Space Treats. They make infused meals and infused treats and foods and meals. She made a meal for me. I purchased for someone, and naturally the terpenes have to be released in the food. You know what I'm saying? It was some fried chicken, some macaroni and cheese. Some,
Do you know what
green
chemovar
beans.
she used to infuse the food with?
I don't know, but she told me it was 200 milligrams
For the whole meal?
for the whole meal.
Okay.
And some in a cinnamon roll. A cinnamon roll.
200 milligrams, that's
How much was all that? How much
pretty
was all
good.
That was $35.
Oh,
Damn.
that's really respectable.
That's high as
That's
hell.
Shout out St. Louis Space Treats.
How was it?
Okay.
Because Jermaine can cook.
It was great.
Yeah,
It
that's
was
just
great.
as good. If we're going to do that, I want to give a major shout out to Chrissy Higher Clouds, Higher Clouds Kitchen. That woman can cook her ass off. And at the 420 party earlier this year, her line for food was the longest. I just have to say that. And Rooted Buds. Every time I get their stuff infused or uninfused, fire.
And as long as we're talking about
Shout
food,
out to those companies. I gotta shout them out.
we are looking for somebody out there who makes CBD dog treats. We're looking for
Ooh.
someone that makes those. The good thing about that is it's CBD, it's federally legal.
I
We
think
don't have to have it come from like the regulated market. But that doesn't mean we don't want something that doesn't come with a certificate of analysis. If you're going to make these dog treats, they got to be on point.
I know
we
somebody.
We love our four-legged friends down at Field State, and we want to start carrying these.
I know somebody for
Rodney
you.
wants to know what's the name of the book that you were talking about.
The Big Book of Terps.
The Big Book of Terps, cuz. You talking about you're going to have hot dogs.
I subscribe to a newsletter, marijuanamoment.net.
Sounds stupid
and
as shit.
He don't even smoke.
He has a daily
Look at the
newsletter
comment
that I
like
get.
that. You got to be ashamed of yourself, and you're scientific.
And there was a link to this book in that newsletter.
Okay.
So that's how I found out about it.
And
But
here,
the Big Book of Terps.
Big Book of Terps.
the thing, folks. Again, you people that are non-smokers that may be listening to this show, watching this show, silly ass Rodney Michael, cannabis is not some foreign thing that was dropped there by some fucking aliens. It goes along with every other plant on this planet. It has the same characteristics, same terps as everything else on this planet. It is not foreign. It is not, it doesn't match everything, specifically, but you can find the link between cannabis to almost every other plant, every other, on this planet. It's not foreign.
Two things
it's
real quick.
Literally for us. It's for us, y'all.
Well, I'll
things real
tell you
quick.
why it's for us after your two things.
Good God.
When did you first start smoking? And like we were saying earlier, do you remember your first blunt that you rolled?
Never rolled a blunt. My first joint was horrible and has been to this day. I can't roll for shit.
Wow.
They always end up pregnant, for lack of a better term. Fat in the middle, skinny on the ends. I've never been a fan of using a crutch, or as the people call them, a filter. It's not a filter, it's a piece of paper, but I understand the purpose of it.
I hate those too.
I'm a roach clip guy.
I don't know why y'all hate on
So
those.
how long you been smoking?
I've been smoking since I was 16. That was when I first smoked. It was my first job. It was at a Pizza Hut in Walpole, Massachusetts. My assistant manager, it was where I had my first cigarette, my first joint, and my first beer.
Yeah, on the clock, break time,
After work.
after work.
We closed down, or while we were closing, that's when we had beer from the taps while we were closing.
Oh, this is good recipe Pizza Hut. Old school Pizza
This
Hut.
is old school
When
Pizza
pizza-
Hut.
oh,
Old
God.
school. When
Old
you could
school
still
Pizza Hut?
smoke. When you could still smoke inside of Massachusetts.
Old school Pizza Hut was so fucking good. Like,
I will never forget the Piazza pizza that Pizza Hut tried. It was
who?
a different type of dough, and it was a stuffed pizza. The first attempt at a stuffed pizza, so you had to run the dough through a special pair of rollers that would flatten it out. But the recipe was so dry, it kept getting holes poked in it, and they discontinued it like after 6 months or something like that. But I'll never forget the Piazza pizza.
I don't even remember that whack ass pizza. I just
But
remember
yeah,
that.
that's where my first joint was. Don't know what kind it was, but I just remember we fishbowled the dude's sedan.
was
We
gonna
invited a couple of buddies by after work.
Y'all fishbowl somebody's sedan. What you mean fishbowl?
Fill it up with smoke.
Oh,
Keep the windows rolled up and just breathe it.
Hot box that joint.
hot
That's why
box.
we call the fishbowl at work, because it's like if we could smoke at work, we'd love to fishbowl the fishbowl. But
Don't front like y'all ain't never smoked at that motherfucker.
dirt weed,
Don't run that line on my
cameras
show.
that place, the
dirt
cameras on
weed,
that
green
place,
weed, skunk, chocolate.
I'm gonna have to say it was probably Mexican brick, because that's what I remember being around. It was just full of stems and seeds. It was compressed from its travels across the border. Often it had a really bad smell to it, so it had been stepped on once or twice.
No, wait a minute. You say you was how old are you now?
53. This
Okay.
is when I was 16.
16.
Yeah. The second question was, when
That's
did I
right.
roll my first blunt? My first attempt was probably around the same time, just practicing. And I guarantee you it was huddled in a corner where I was hoping my parents wouldn't come in or anything like that. I remember one time my mother, she found my friend's dugout. I had ended up with it at the end of the night, and it was in my coat. And she had hung my coat up in the closet and was like, "What's this in his pocket?" And pulled out this wooden dugout.
Shout out to anybody who knows what a dugout is. If you don't know what a dugout is, it's a usually wooden little case where you can put your green and your little apparatus to smoke it out of.
A one-hitter bat. Sometimes they look like
Yep.
they were designed to look like cigarettes, so you
Yep.
could be
Yep.
stealthy about it.
Thank you
But
for
she found it,
interrupting for
and
me trying to
she
explain it.
I hate those.
confronted me with it. She said, "Jeffrey, what's this?" And she pulled out a Kleenex and
Nuggets are
unfolded
dope.
it, and
Nuggets
there
are
was
dope.
the green in the middle. And I remember it was green like this, so the weed must have gotten better. And I'm like, "It's tobacco." And she's like, "Why is it green?" I'm like, "It's special tobacco." And I finally said, "All right, it's weed, but it's not mine." And I was telling the truth. It belonged to my buddy Joseph.
Brunch punch, yeah.
And she was going to call Joseph's mother because my mom and his mom were both in the local garden club, so they knew each other. And I basically, I
That
can
wasn't
remember it was one
growing
of
in
the
the
first
garden.
times I really stood up to my mother. I said, "Don't you dare call Diana." Like,
Whoa! You took
Wow.
that tone with your mother?
He
did.
called his the mom's name, his friend's mom's name by her first name. Oh shit!
Yeah, I'm telling you, it was like the first time I stood up, and she was taken aback, and she never called.
Wow.
She never called.
Wow.
She didn't give the dugout back. I had to say,
How
"Joe,
old were
lost
you?
your
How
dugout."
old were you? How old were you?
I was probably 18, 19, I think.
And you told you
Wow.
actually uttered the words, "Don't you dare" to your own sweet dear mother.
Wow. My mom's would have fucked me up on
Oh,
sight
man.
if I talked to
Oh,
her
you
like
talking about?
that.
I would have got a nice one too.
What? Yeah, I mean, like what
Please.
the
My mother don't even hit
My
me.
mom's was
She's like, shit. Please,
Like what? No, ain't no way
You see,
in
I mean,
hell.
as you
I
notice,
could
you
say
notice
some
both of our
shit.
reactions at the same time.
Like,
Yeah.
When you said that,
Mama,
like,
for real.
I apologize to my mother in my head just by you
Yeah.
saying that. Damn, man, you serious? Say that to your mother? I'm about to call my mother in a second, straight up,
For
just
real.
like, man, hey, mama,
For
I'm
real.
I'm just
For
want to apologize
real.
just because he said that to his mother.
For real.
Man, for real.
Oh
damn.
my god.
It saved
Dude,
my
that
ass.
is some
It saved
bold ass
Joseph's
shit.
ass, and
At 50, I would not consider saying that to my mother.
Yeah, that's bold as shit.
I would have to write that on a note and slide that over the table and walk out the door.
Word. I wouldn't even write that down and give it to my mom's. Would go off on me, call me while as I'm leaving.
Straight.
And go off on me
Seriously
on the phone.
joking, mother.
that just shows how far back my love of cannabis, I guess, goes. It was such a part of my life that I didn't want it being disrupted by getting in trouble and getting my friend in trouble for it. I was buying it for my friend, for heaven's sakes. And it just led to a lifelong journey that's gotten me here now.
I got a question. Overall, and this is a question for both of y'all. And not when you're high, right? But when you got green on you, or even when you got green on you, like overall, did y'all ever like feel like I'm not supposed to have this, or did you ever feel weird about it, or was it
Not
comfortable?
supposed to have it in the sense of it being illegal or immoral.
Yeah, illegal.
Illegal.
Yeah.
I was pretty brazen about it. I never waved it around, but I never worried about it. Like if I got caught, I got caught, I guess. I took the chance.
Right.
You don't want to get caught per se, but it's like, oh nah, man, no, I never felt like I shouldn't be doing this or no shit like that. I mean, you might walking around with no like brick of cocaine. This is marijuana.
And
You know what I'm saying?
nowadays,
I ain't got a
to
pound.
me-
I don't have a pound on me, but I still don't want to get caught with whatever I have or had. But it was more so of, hey,
Well, that's why. Do you have your medical card, Coach?
nah, I don't have a medical card.
Why
you
not?
you could have that
Should get
legal
one.
protection for yourself. Case in
Yeah.
point, I got pulled over the other day doing 85. I'll cop to it. And I copped to the cop to it about it, too. It was a local cop, a Town and Country, I think. And lost my train of thought. This is some pretty good bud.
Well, yeah, this is Brunch Punch. He gave us now. This is Robust's plant, Brunch Punch.
I remember now.
This
Thank
is
you
amazing.
For the okay.
Yep.
So he says, "What's that I smell?" I said, "It's cannabis, sir. I just, I came from work." And I was able to give him my agent ID, which proved that I was not lying about working in the industry. And then I showed him my patient card, which allows me to have up to 4 ounces on me at any given time. And in St. Louis County, you cannot use the smell of cannabis to initiate a search of a vehicle. So So I was just completely open and honest, and that medical card was my get out of jail free card.
Damn right.
Because all I had on me was what I was legally allowed to have.
Damn right.
Well, I understand that.
Damn right.
But my reality is, same officer pulls me over, smells that marijuana, he has got to call back up because he has just pulled over Tony Montana.
If
He's thinking he has
and this
Nate
is why-
Newton or
okay,
somebody.
you're talking-
and that's more of a reason for you to have the freaking card. Cause
Even with the card.
No, with the card,
Oh,
bruh.
you asked
with the
me
card,
what
you
else I have my fingers
Do you
in.
remember the name
you-
Philando Castile?
I understand what you're saying. That was
all I
in
mean.
Minnesota, and you're right. Minnesota got some bad history with that. All I'm saying is, bruh, is that's
I know
more,
exactly what y'all mean.
That's
Don't get me wrong.
more of a reason to
know
have
exactly what y'all
one
mean.
because you're literally driving around.
I like
This
it.
is why we're going to do what we're going to do at First
And
State.
you
We're going
black.
to put together
They
an
love them.
education.
I like how
presentation
things
for
went during
police.
Prohibition.
I did ask you earlier what
Do you remember how things went during Prohibition?
Oh, I remembered things during Prohibition.
Prohibition.
Sure.
I like that. I like it. I like it untaxed. I like it under the table. I love
But you
it.
don't know what you're getting. You don't know where it comes from. It's untested.
Whoa,
it could have been
hey.
stepped on.
I got good. I have very good friends,
Yeah.
and I'll leave
Very
it at that.
good. Yeah.
Okay.
Because that's the main. That's
But
one of. That's
to
one
your,
of. The,
to your point, this is why we're going to come up with an educational presentation for police departments. When I got pulled over by the officer, he was unaware of what was going on, and I was able to school him a little bit. This is how much I'm allowed to carry. This is what an agent card looks like. This is what a patient card looks like. Police officers need to know this information, so if you get pulled over, he knows your rights better than you know your rights.
right.
But right now, it's ignorance of the law. And in some cases, willful ignorance, because some people don't like change. But if we can put together a presentation for free, we're not going to want to make money off of people. This is about education. Knowledge is free. Give them that knowledge.
Speaking of ignorance of the law, that was pretty much where I was going in reference to the situation with Brittany Griner. And I was telling him, because he was, like I say, he was talking about trying to find a subject. Is her treatment fair or unfair? Because for years, people have been told in court, ignorance of the law is not a reason. And, excuse me, you have the show Locked Up Abroad. I'm like, you've never heard of this show? You cannot possibly think that you can actually take drugs on your person into another country and think it's okay. I have crossed the border into another country, and I smelled like marijuana when I did. I was stopped at customs. I was accosted at customs for me and my boy. We was there for 20 minutes, and we was both cool because we know we didn't have any weed, and we was going to get some. They was holding us up, but eyes bloodshot. You know, we reeking, but it didn't matter because we didn't have anything on us. But knowing what goes on at customs personally, that's what made me think like I don't really I don't think she's being like untreated fairly or unjustly.
I want to know if it was THC or CBD or a synthetic cannabinoid that she had in her vape cart, because she said it was when she packed from America and was going over to Russia. So it was something she brought from here.
Right.
So
I'm
I'm
thinking
hoping it was something she might have thought was legal, like CBD.
Oh no, she knew it was THC. She knew it was THC.
It does not-
It's just she's not being mistreated. I don't feel like that.
She's being used as
willingly
a political ploy during
Thank you.
very heightened political
when you
times with us in
like
Russia.
I said, I know what it is personally to be held at customs. When you're going through it on a personal level, you know what it actually is. And they question everything. Soon as you cross over the border, they question everything as to why you are there and what you are doing and what's on your person. Declare it right now. They tell you that. They told me that to my face. Declare it now. They search the whole vehicle. They walk the whole vehicle. This is what they do. So to feel like, oh, they're doing her wrong. You did not know that you couldn't take drugs into another country?
First off, you don't know if she didn't get it from there. Second, she's been in and out of there for hella. She goes over there to make
This wasn't her first
to
time.
make her money because she doesn't make enough in the WNBA. Like, this is not her fault. She is literally being. If it wasn't this, it would be what. They would
Whoa,
find
how is it
something
not
else.
her fault?
She is being used as a political pawn. That is all this is,
Wait a minute,
bro.
the only reason,
If
the
you
only
can't
way
see
it
that,
couldn't
like,
be
that's bullshit.
The only way
Bruh,
it couldn't
bruh.
be her fault is if somebody placed it in her bag without her knowing.
No, this is what I'm surprised you don't realize. I was about
She
to.
may have been trying to get away with it and got caught, and in that sense, she was wrong. She
That's what
got
I'm saying.
caught.
She ain't the first athlete to get caught in an airport with some weed.
But
That's not what she
her
has.
case is
It's the
being
same
used-
thing.
It's not the same thing.
How is it not?
It's because first off, it was a vape pen. That's all it is. And second, the woman has been coming in and out of there for hellas. This is not her first trip to Russia. This is like not her meeting the country.
You don't know.
No,
if,
no, no,
you
no,
don't
no,
know
no.
if it's her
Here's another
first
thing.
trip with
For-
THC.
The other thing too. This is what I'm so surprised that you're even saying this, because don't you know how those you may not, because you don't follow basketball like that, but I thought you did. Don't you know how those female athletes are treated over there? Like, they treated like, you know what I'm saying, the way we supposed to treat them here. Like, they get worshipped and shit over there. They get the best of the best.
that,
like,
but all of that has
that's why
nothing to do with her having THC.
If you've been going back and forth and never had an issue with it before, just because we're about to invade a whole other country?
Maybe because where she had it packed at before. If you were high and you don't think before you pack your shit, and then you have it in your personal instead of in your luggage.
Wow. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. That's how she slipped up.
To me, that's a cop out by you. I can't believe you would go there.
Cop
with
out
it.
how?
You know what I'm saying?
Because she didn't know what she had on her person.
It's, to me, when you're someone who literally plays for their national team and they love the shit out of women's basketball over there, they worship that shit. She is treated like a celebrity. She goes in and out like it's no problem. Just now after years of going back and forth, like, come on, man.
You're saying
It's
that though.
literally just because of the invasion.
You're
That's all
saying
that was,
you're saying
bruh.
that as if she's always had this on her. You don't know that. That's what I'm saying. You can't say like, oh, she's been doing it every time, unless she came out and said, hey, I've been doing this every time. She didn't say that.
Well, how do you just assume she's not being mistreated? And
Nobody said nothing about that. She's being not
you
mistreated
said
or anything. We talking about
literally-
breaking the
you
law.
literally said, oh, I don't feel like
treated unfairly.
I don't think she's being treated unfairly.
No,
or,
because people
I
are
don't
saying
think
she's being treated unfairly because they're saying, well, she's only being held for some weed. But it's not just some weed. You broke an international drug law. It don't matter if it's 25 grams or 2,500. You cannot cross a border with weed
I don't know.
or any drug. You cannot.
Well,
That's why I'm saying she's not being treated unfair. Like I stated,
Yeah.
I have gone through the process personally.
Yeah.
I know what it is.
Yeah.
Her case is being used for PR purposes.
Yeah, I know
by
that
both
part.
Russia and America.
But when you get down to the brass tacks of it, you cross the border with an illegal substance. You really think, oh, I'm just supposed to get a slap on the wrist for that? Come on, man.
Well,
Just-
they're gonna,
it doesn't have you, but you don't need to be locked up from February to now over this bullshit.
You don't know
and,
how to-
and it's awful convenient. It's awful convenient that you're a star in the United States and over there, and they can use you as
prisoner exchange.
while we're invading a whole nother country. You know what I'm saying? If you don't see the tie-in with that,
That's the
I don't
after
understand.
effects of it. But from the
I don't understand.
from the initial beginning, no one had like some secret ploy to, hey, we're going to use Brittany Griner for XYZ. Brittany Griner put herself in that position by transporting drugs across the border. Point blank.
That's a vape. It's a damn vape pen. Stop it.
Here we,
You
sound like
you
sound like the same people who were saying, let Sha'Carri run. It was just marijuana. You broke the rule.
Oh wow.
It's the same
Yeah,
shit.
You sound so goddamn. You sound so right wing right now. Like them. You said,
Oh, so you think she should have been on the team?
You think like
Should she have been on the team or not? Yes or no?
I don't know. It's not an enhancer. You know what I'm saying? It's something that helps her.
It's a yes or
and
no
she was
question.
dealing with her mom.
Should she have been on the team? Yes or no?
I think so, man.
Wow.
I think so.
Wow. So now we don't have drug testing.
This dude.
Wow.
So what? So what
You
happens?
cannot have
pies I got my
marijuana.
fingers
You've
in?
never been able to have marijuana in your system and be on an
Should we
Olympic
get
team.
back to the pies that I've got my fingers in?
Wish we would have said that
You guys
earlier.
have a
But
very impassioned conversation right now.
right, we got to wrap this show up because we definitely went over. Give me one last thing that you're doing before we get out of here.
Right now, I'm in pre-production with Daisha Betts, owner of the Sank Lounge.
There it is.
We are going to be doing a live music broadcast. It's going to be live streamed and then edited down to about like a half an hour, a la Austin City Limits. If you've ever seen that show,
Where's the St. Lounge at?
the Sank Lounge on Washington Avenue.
It's
in
basically-
St. Louis. It's a mansion that she bought, an old mansion. It's a 10-room bed and breakfast is what she turned it into. Each room has a different theme, but the bottom level is she's turned it into the Sank Lounge, members only. They have events. That's where Chris Nelson, my boy Chris, is doing Taco Tuesdays. She has a stage on site. She did something called the Kush Kickback, and that's where I saw the whole layout, and that's like, we can do this here. So
You
we're going to do a
remember-
live event.
I don't mean to cut you off, but you remember the old bed and breakfast that was right there on Sarah, right off of Sarah, and
Central West End,
Yeah.
It's black on.
yeah, remember that one that's been there for hellas? It's still there. They still own it. They partnered with Miss Betts, and she was on the show a couple months back.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she was talking about it then. This thing is amazing. I can't wait till they finish it. The Kush Kickback, I told you about. I wanted you to come. It was dope. You know what I'm saying? The
It
party
was a good
amazing.
time. All kinds of vendors. And at the live event we're going to do, there are going to be vendors
my
as well.
goodness.
You can
Yes.
consume on site.
Yes.
So everybody's just going to lay back, smoke weed, watch a great band. We're going to film the whole thing,
Dude.
stream it live, and then cut it down for later editing for both Sank Lounge and Field States use to promote our business.
And what day is this going to be?
Oh my goodness.
The target date is October 1st. Right now I'm looking for a production company that can handle that aspect of it. Someone that can come in with their people, with their cameras, do the live streaming, and then we'll take care of the footage and post-production to edit it down for the later episode that we're going to produce.
They see that was. We're at the party. We're doing our thing, and Jeff just doom. It's like this cylinder starts popping off in this dude's head about what he wants to have going, and he gets it going, and he comes up with these ideas, and he's doing it. He's pushing it forward. So major shout out to Jeff, y'all. You know what I'm saying? We gotta. No, wrong one. There it is. Major shout out
Thank
to
you,
Jeff
sir.
for what he's doing, cause.
And thanks for the opportunity to come on the show. I know I got a little testy early on, but I appreciate the knowledge y'all were able to give me.
Oh yeah. Because here's the thing: you were not testy. You were being you, which I was happy about, and we had to talk about it. We had to talk about Bill Russell. We had to talk about the man, the myth, the legend, and everything that he's done for us. You know, as a people, as black people in this country, and what he's done for the game, and has pushed the game forward and civil rights forward. So we just had to give that man his love. So, big
Put it
blow.
like this.
Big blow losing him.
How would
today.
you feel if Cheech Marin died?
Oh Lord.
I wouldn't feel.
Why
I mean,
would you
not-
compare that to that?
No,
That was such a-
because cannabis is huge in this man's life.
Man, all right, look,
You have to be a fan of Cheech and Chong.
you silly.
Come on, man.
Cheech and Chong has been turned into an archetype. The people that hate cannabis say, oh, they're doing Cheech and Chong stuff here. So they've kind of co-opted the memory that they created back, the counterculture memory from back in the 70s, for their own purposes.
But are you a Cheech and Chong fan? Come on.
I've seen their movies, but I'm not going to say that their movies impacted me the way Bill Russell impacted you.
No. I mean, just as far as cannabis culture in your life.
Cannabis culture in my life, maybe Dr. Raphael Mechoulan. He's the guy that discovered the endocannabinoid system, a couple of the receptors in that system, THC, CBD. He's moved the industry forward. I would feel really bad if that man died.
There you go.
Thank God for him because we need him.
That's how.
if it
That's
wasn't
how.
for
That's
him,
how we look at it, Bill Russell.
we would never have the cannabinoid system.
That's what I was trying to correlate that to.
Right,
The
get
way you would
somebody
feel
to
if you
understand,
found out
right.
that man died, that's how every black man who's a basketball fan feels today.
Talk about it. Talk about it,
Seriously.
Coach.
Because that man, you talking about
Sad
Bill
day,
Russell.
y'all. We about to be out. Thank you, Coach, for saying that. Major shout out to Jeff L, aka El Jefe, for coming through the studio today. Yeah, this major news. Rest in peace, 11-time NBA champion, 88 years old, Bill Russell. Thank you, y'all, for coming through. Yo, y'all know what it is, man. It's High Off the Glass. Keep smoking. Keep hooping.
Shout out Rodney Michael for co-hosting online.
Yeah, Rodney Michael in the house. Holla. We out.
Thanks.